Hey everybody, welcome to strengthcoach.com. I'm Anthony Renna, and today I got on a good sample of members to talk about their response to COVID-19 crisis. So what they're doing with their gyms, with their members, with training, and how are things going. So I'm just going to go around the room, and let's start out with basically your name, your gym size, your location, number of members, just an estimate, and who you guys mostly work with. So we'll go Frank Dolan first. Frank, go ahead.
Sure. It's Frank Dolan. I'm in Islip, New York. I've got a gym called Sports and Fitness Performance. We're about 3,000 square feet, and we run anywhere between 100 to 150 members, depending on the time of the year. We're mostly working with athletes. So in the summertime, summer months, and December, those are our busy times.
Awesome. Elsbeth.
I'm Elsbeth Vaino, and I run Custom Strength in Ottawa, Canada. We're about, I think we're 1,850 square feet and 120 members, and mostly general population, but either who are very active or who've had injuries that they've been dealing with.
Nice. Steve Bigelow.
I'm Steve Bigelow. I'm a coach at Mike Boyle Strength Conditioning. I wear a lot of hats there as well. Greater Boston area, we have two locations, one in Woburn, Massachusetts, 22,000 square feet, one in Middleton, Massachusetts, 7,500 square feet. Clients ranging from young athletes to older adults. So we have about 350, I would say, personal training client and adult group clients. And then depending on the season with athletes, it's anywhere from 150 to 500.
All right, John Messner.
John Messner Strength Training in Brielle. It's a 1,000 square foot personal training studio, and I'm working with about 30 clients or so right now.
Excellent. John, what are that's general population, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, mostly GP, mostly, between the age of 40 and up, and a couple of really good high school athletes.
All right. Evan.
Evan Marcantonio. I run Elevate Strength and Performance in Worcester, Massachusetts. We have around 70 members, and it's general population, active adults with kids and demanding jobs. And 2,000 square foot gym.
All right. Alwyn?
Alwyn Cosgrove, Results Fitness, Santa Clarita, California. We have just shy of 7,000 square feet, and memberships largely Gen Pop, although we have a big range of people, and we are averaging somewhere between 250 and 300 as our membership base. I read off the top of my head, it's always between those two numbers.
All right, and you have an interesting library there, Alwyn. I just wanted to point that out. I mean, just
if you want to be like the best, you can get the Be Like the Best book, but if you want to be 3 times as good as the best, you have to get 3.
There you go. All right, guys, let's go over what you're doing for training. How have you responded with? What kind of training are you doing? Whatever apps you're using, whatever Zoom, whether it's Zoom or FB Live, or what you're doing on a consistent basis. Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So we right away, when everything started to kind of take shape and start to change, we went to just what can we do to add value and maintain connection. I think that was the main focus, especially when things got shut down in New York. So we went to Zoom classes right away. We have a good group of people that are kind of our class only group. And then our kind of semi-private group, that's more of the bulk of the membership. We really had them just jump on those calls and classes right away. And then trying to just have opportunities to connect with people. So we did a lot of lunch and learns. We're doing those Monday through Thursday at noon. Just quick 20 to 30 minutes. It's just an opportunity for them to learn a little something, and then give them an opportunity to ask questions like, how do I set up my Zoom account? How do I do semi-private and not just the classes? It was just a lot of nuance that we had to work through over the first few weeks. So I think just giving people an opportunity to connect and try out the Zoom thing. And then we were, people that didn't make it, we would just, put it online for them to watch after as well. So just trying to, just put as much value out there as we possibly can right now.
Cool.
We also have, Alan not being on the call. I think he's kind of saved our butt a little bit. Was talking about group training and kind of having the value be in the consultative coaching and not just the trainer just standing there counting reps with you. I think I've been listening to Alan talk about that since 2004 and finally switched over to that in 2011. So I'm glad that we did that. And that's 33% of our business is consultative coaching. So, you know, that's a piece that is going to be solid. And then now it's just a matter of converting those people over who like to work out with us physically in the gym to get them on board. Everyone's already had a Trainerize account. So all of our members already had that group. We're not. So, you know, it's been, you know, just giving them those opportunities to connect and get on the app with us.
Excellent. Elsbeth.
So we started out actually with a focus on getting as many people something to do as we can. We actually don't do groups. We do semi-private exclusively. So for us, we sent out something using Google Forms, just a questionnaire to say, what do you have at home? What kind of time frame do you have? And then I've got 4 trainers working for me. So I just divided everyone up based on who they normally work out with. And we've been, I think in the last week and a half, we've got 65 people already set up on personalized programs that they're doing at home. And then we're getting people connected. We set up a what we're calling it a workout space on Slack. And so we've got general workouts up there as well. We've got little channels for things like, you know, I worked out today. So people are putting up when they've done a workout or when they just do anything. They go for a walk, they do yoga, whatever they're doing. So we're trying to do our best to keep everyone connected on Slack and get that. We've got a really social atmosphere at our gym. So we're working at keeping that and then making sure everyone has something to do. And then now this week we're expanding, we're adding the semi-private online coach sessions where, you know, like we have, you know, just like we do in the gym, except people are at their own house with Zoom. And we've got Zoom connected right through Slack. So I actually just start the meetings or my trainers start the meeting from within Slack.
Elspeth, did you lend equipment out?
Oh yeah. And we also, so we've been closed for 2.5 weeks now. And a couple of days in, we just sent the word out to everyone to say, hey, who wants equipment? And I was in the gym yesterday just to check in on it. And I think we have one 70-pound kettlebell and one 5-pound kettlebell left at the gym and pretty much nothing else.
Nice. Elsbeth, I just want to go over a little bit with Slack. I've used Slack before in Michael Hyatt's group, and it's great because it's so much easier to find stuff. Like things just live easier in Slack. You found that?
Yeah, we have, although we also have to be a little mindful. Like sometimes people are really eager to post, which is great. But that means where we have, for instance, we have these general workouts. Like I put together a workout, I call it the spinal tap workout with 11 reps of everything, basically. Just to, you know, keep things fun. And then we have 3 or 4 different generic workouts so far. We're adding a few more, but as people post in that channel, it's actually hard to find the generic workouts. So I've had to actually created a different channel. So we're learning as we go to keep it keep it so you can find stuff, also keep it so people can stay engaged. And yeah, it's working out really nicely for that.
Yeah, definitely. Steve.
Yeah, so much like everyone else. So we started so we weren't officially shut down in Massachusetts until I want to say, I mean, there's still some place in Massachusetts. Evan, I don't know what the rules are in Worcester, but I mean, there's even places in Woburn that aren't closed. But then they finally closed personal service businesses in Woburn, Massachusetts, at least I want to say last Monday. So that was the first. We had the gym open operationally for a week without groups, just personal training clients in before we decided to kind of curtail all operations. But we started with Facebook Lives, and then just with the need to send something a little more private to our already paying clients, we decided to start the Zoom workouts, which we do 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 times a day. And then we're still running the Facebook Live workouts, and we're also running Instagram Live workouts. We figured that'd be a little better platform to catch our high school or middle school athletes in. So we're doing that twice a week as well.
Very cool. John.
So this might seem a little controversial, but I've been doing mostly in-homes. Now, before you have any ideas about that, I live alone. I have no family, and my clients who I am doing in-homes with, because it is personal training and it's small groups, and a lot of people have a lot of different needs, a lot of bad backs and stuff. I'm kind of nervous about doing groups on Zoom. So they asked me. So they're very intelligent, they're very wealthy, a lot of my clients, and I try to impart on them the risks involved. I try to maintain a very safe distance. I clean all the equipment afterwards, but I'm mostly doing in-homes. I'm doing my first Zoom workout. I think we're going to do core every Saturday morning. We're going to try it out, see how it goes.
Okay. When you go to their house, are you protecting yourself though?
Am I protecting myself, Anthony?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm wiping my hands down. I'm maintaining a safe distance, all that stuff. And I'm wiping all the equipment down afterwards.
Okay.
With disinfectant, yeah.
Yep. Evan.
As Steve referenced, like for Massachusetts, I actually went on Facebook Live on a Sunday at 2 and just said, hey gang, we're going to stay open as long as we can and make this work. And at 6 o'clock, our governor made a announcement that all non-essential businesses were to shut down, and it limited a capacity of 25. So I was talking to another coach, another business owner, and we didn't want to be the ones responsible for having someone catch something in our gym. So we kind of mutually said, let's just shut it down. So on Monday was our last open day. We had members come in, grab equipment, and then I allowed people to come in one by one throughout that week and grab stuff. We were transitioned into Zoom by Tuesday night, and I've been running 3 sessions Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then 2 sessions on Tuesday, Thursdays. And just last week got our semi-private schedule up on board. When you told me about stats, I plugged some stats because of Elsbeth, and our engagement for our membership has been about 60%, which is high, I think, compared to some of the gyms I've been in touch with. And then we have been posting every video of that recording on our Facebook page. And then in total, we're getting about 76% engagement, which is, to me, great. I don't think that's too far off of what our in-person visits would be. Some people feel more self-sufficient. We've also found that some of our members just aren't comfortable with the Zoom platform. Some of them work on Zoom all day long, and the last thing they want to do is train. Like being in the gym was giving them the opportunity to get away from their desk and their computer. And on Sunday night, I've been sitting on my butt too long to write kind of like a kettlebell training ebook, and I put that together in about 3 or 4 days and sent that out. And all those people who aren't on the calls have been going through that quick ebook and getting training sessions in. So we've been in touch with 98% of our members. There's one person who we haven't heard from, and that's worked out well for us so far. Zoom's great. The noon sessions seem to be hard. I think that's when there's the most traffic on Zoom, but all of our other sessions have gone really well.
Very cool. I love that idea of, people have different ways that they want to do things. Number one, they learn differently, but like having that ebook, and you and I were on the phone that week too, talking about that. That was pretty cool. Very cool. Alwyn, I just want you to go over too, talk about that we were on the phone the Monday you guys got shut down, actually.
Well, what's going to happen after this call?
I know. See, he thinks it's a bad omen. First of all, if I do a Strength Coach TV somewhere, usually they expand, revenue increases by 3 times. Anyway, Alwyn, talk to us about, like, you guys responded super quick. Talk to us about if that's changed at all from that Monday moving forward.
So I think that's the key. So all my answers are going to reflect that we've only been closed 14 days. We were open Monday the 13th. And as I was doing a Strength Coach segment, we were open, and I hung up, and we were closed within 30 minutes. So the phrase that Jim Collins came out with is good is the enemy of the great, right? That sometimes we don't do great stuff because we do good stuff. That's not holding true right now. Good enough is good enough right now. Speed is the key. You have to be moving faster than your competition. We were closed at 2:30. By 4 o'clock, we'd filmed a bunch of workouts for the app. Right? We'd filmed a bunch of exercises. We're in the process of using an app to get away from, I'm old school, pen and paper record keeping, but we're in the process of rolling out an app. So we just had to speed that up. We had that done by 4. We had our first class streaming on Facebook Live in our private group at 4. That evening, I had a home workout up in the Facebook group with no equipment. We surveyed our members to see who had equipment, and then we tweaked that home workout for them. And the next morning, everybody had their workout, right? So speed is the key. We're delivering a workout every morning at 9 a.m. It's on Facebook Live and it's on Zoom. I much prefer Zoom because we can see our clients. But some clients, they just don't want to learn something new right now. So the Facebook Live works great for them. 90% of our people are on the app, doing their workouts and checking in with their coach. They get a 15-minute call once a week with their coach. But we've also got some who are like, I don't want to learn an app right now, and they're getting a PDF with their workout on it. So honestly, we've checked out a bunch of equipment, and it's just speed is of the essence right now. You've got to be engaging your people faster. Like we did this on our Strength Coach podcast segment earlier this week, and we perhaps overwhelmed our guys in the beginning because they get so many workouts to choose from. Because we were like, right, let's go. And clients like, dude, I only train twice a week. What am I supposed to do? I've got 72 workouts to choose from right now. But that's the key. Is I think that normally we move slowly and methodically, and right now we're rolling pretty fast. So we're doing a streaming workout 6 days a week. We've got the app going. The workouts are streaming on Zoom, Facebook Live. We also have a PDF. Obviously, it stays up on Facebook Live so people can watch it again. And all our guys are getting a 15-minute call with their assigned coach once a week right now.
Just to go around the room one more time, I was listening to Rick Mayo, and he was saying, hey, get those Facebook Lives, get them to the public. Are you guys doing it to the public? Because the group pages don't get a lot of engagement as it is. And then obviously, unless you have a private page, but are you guys putting your Facebook Lives out? Frank, are you?
I would. We talked about this earlier in the week. I had an unfortunate hacking. My profile picture was a picture of ISIS the other day. So I had a member send that over, and I'm locked out of my Instagram and Facebook right now. So
Elsbeth?
I'm not. For me, my focus is taking care of my current clients for the first little bit. We're kind of there now. So now I'm starting to look towards, expanding and looking outwards. But for right now, no, it's just been get our people set up and get them good stuff.
Yeah. Steve?
For us, it was kind of, we had to, so we obviously have such a big reach worldwide and with the education presence we have, we felt like we couldn't just abandon, once we decided to go Zoom for the clients who are already paying, we couldn't just abandon Facebook Live or Instagram Live, because we do have a sizable amount of people who are following especially during this time when people are probably just sitting at home. So we figured we can't just eliminate all content that we'll be putting on Facebook Live. So that's why we decided to keep doing the workouts on Facebook and Instagram.
Cool. Evan?
We have not done Facebook Live yet, and my answer is very similar to Elsbeth's. The goal right out of the gate was to make sure our community was intact and that we serviced everyone there first. It's in discussion, but we haven't made a decision on that yet.
Okay. Alan?
We haven't went live. We posted some of the workouts on our main Facebook page after they've been recorded. We haven't went live there, similar to Elsbeth and Evan. Number one is to put a fence around my paying clients, those that are still investing in our company. They have to get something that other people are not getting, is my reason. I got to look after those people. But we are doing right now, any of our members who want to invite a friend, we're giving them basically our 30-day pass to our private group, and they can join in the Facebook Lives and the Zooms right there. So there's no charge, but they have to be invited by a current member. But right now, number one target is to look after the people who are continuing to support us as a small business.
Very cool. I want to go to start with Elsbeth on this, just because it was her original letter that I had asked her if we could share on strengthcoach.com. I had shared that with Frank and our other buddy, TJ Lopez, about continuing membership for clients and being transparent, being open, and kind of getting ahead of it. Absolutely love that Elsbeth, first of all, shared it, that she did it, and showed us, talked to us about those numbers, that like how many people would continue their membership, how many people would maybe do some other things, some plans afterwards. So Elsbeth, talk to us about that letter, a brief like overview of it and your response to it.
Yeah, basically I just knew I'm in a situation where if we're closed for several months and I have no revenue, frankly, I'm probably going to go bankrupt, and I didn't want to do that. So I also know that I have a strong community of people that we're really important to them. And so I reached out to them. I basically said, hey, here's the situation. Also recognizing that probably 2/3 of the population right now are still getting their regular paycheck. So we're in sort of stress mode, but the reality is a lot of our clients are actually going to come out of this with more money than they started, because they're getting their regular paycheck, but they don't have anything to spend it on because everything is closed. right? So I basically just put it out there, said, listen, like, you know, this is a point where, frankly, we need you. We're going to do our best to provide you value, but I'd really like to know, like, where do you stand on this? And I'm going to be following up with a more specific request, which I did follow up, and I actually sent a letter out. And it was quite long. I feel like it was wrong in a way to send such a long email, but it was very specific. We give them 6 options. 2 of them were pay basically what you're paying now for online training. 2 of them were pay what you're paying now in exchange for either banked sessions later or reduced invoice later. And then 1 of them was just do nothing and we'll catch you later. And then the 6th one was, if you've lost your income, then you can enjoy the 2 online options for free with no payment later on that either. And so what we found, we got 60, I think it's actually, as more people, we're at 60% are continuing with online training at their regular price. 23% are going to keep paying, but they're going to do their own thing because they're just not really interested in the online training. And we have a very active community, so people that bike and run and hike and stuff like that, so they're going to keep doing that anyhow. And the nice thing there is I'm basically getting a 0 interest loan from my clients, but at the same time I'm also guaranteeing that they're going to be clients when we open again. So they're not just going to go do their own thing and forget about us, because they've been paying me for whoever knows how long this is going to last. And then the second part on that is I'm not saying that you can suddenly go from paying now and then pay nothing later, because that doesn't help me when we open the doors again. I can end up with reduced revenue and probably increased expenses because we might have some rent deferrals, that kind of thing. So I made sure that the 2 options are basically banked sessions. So you just work out twice as often for a while until you've paid it off, or I've offered them basically pay 2/3 of your invoice until it's paid out. So I set myself up, and as it turns out, enough people have signed on for the actual training part that I don't need to use any of that money that I'm borrowing. I'm still going to take it because I don't know what's going to happen in 2 months or 3 months. And like I said, I want the assurance that these people are not going to forget about us. So that's sort of where I went. I don't know if I went too far off tangent there, but
No.
That's kind of what we've done.
It's a great response. Frank, I had sent you that letter and you had sent one out too. You have some athletes too, so they're always going to be seasonal, and kind of caught them right in the middle. So how's your response been?
Yeah, it's actually been pretty good. And it was interesting when I had initially everything happened and everything progressed. I was just trying to stay in contact, and I was getting some messages from members saying like, hey, if you need help with, I see that there's a bunch of sessions canceled, and, maybe I could help with that, whether it would be a loan or I want to continue to pay somebody. And I realized, and then I saw what you had posted, Elsbeth, and I said, you know what, there's no reason why I shouldn't just put it out there and say, that this is the situation. I think what it did is it got people to make a decision a little bit faster, so we know where people are at. And then that makes it easier to figure out the numbers. We've got kind of a locked in group right now that we know is going to be consistent and be there for us. We've got a lost group that, people that just said, hey, I've got to stop this right now. I just don't know where I'm going to be in a week. And then we have your, kind of like your gray area people that are kind of out there. And, I think as long as I have a best case scenario of where I am right now and a worst case scenario, that's going to make me feel a lot more comfortable making decisions about employment and about, what bills get paid and just how we move forward on this. It's really, I got 2 little kids at home, and I'm sure people are dealing with the same kind of situation. It is a minute by minute, hour by hour, and day by day proposition right now. So I'm just going to try to do the next right thing and keep moving forward like that.
Good stuff. Steve, you guys have such a variety of people and seasons and athletes and personal training, and it's crazy over there. What's been the response so far?
I think the response has been fairly positive. I think we're at 75% are still paying through the end of April as of right now, or through the end of the season. Wow. Into June. So I think that's pretty good, especially with the numbers we are seeing from a volume standpoint. And then, as Frank mentioned, in that group of 25%, there's a chunk of that group who has suspended payments. There's a chunk of that group who's pushed payments back 1 month. So it's not necessarily completely 25% of people have dropped off from paying, but who knows, with as the weeks go by, that could change as like it's day by day, minute by minute. One thing we found though is an interesting stat, and I'd love to hear from everyone else here, is that every time we send out an email trying to keep clients updated, is that you get 5 or 6 more cancels. So we are trying to figure out how often should we space these emails apart, even if they are offering things like, hey, you can access our online training for free if you're a paying member of the gym with this access code, or here's the Zoom workout schedule. So that was something interesting that we're trying to deal with right now. But overall, I would say it's been a positive response.
Nice. John, you said you're going to people's homes still. What percentage of your clients are you doing that with?
And I also failed to mention, I'm also doing several FaceTime private sessions. But we're at about half, about 50% or so, and I've been keeping in touch with everybody else via email and weekly text. We're a very close group, a very close community. So a lot of people, and just to echo what other people have said, you want to try and maintain contact because you don't know how long this is going to go on for. And several of my clients who are not paying me right now, I don't worry about them, but some of them I do. So I'm kind of hoping they jump on Zoom on Saturday. But I also have several clients paying me for private sessions who I'm not going to see for several months. So again, we're at about 50% or so. And I'm hoping to get most everybody else at least into Zoom. And I think, again, I have a pretty close community and they're pretty good about maintaining contact, but there's always that worry. If it goes on for 4 or 5 months, will they still be there?
Yeah. Evan?
We haven't done the letter yet. And I have been like writing something up, but it just doesn't feel right yet for me to send out. And the reason we haven't is when people were coming in to grab equipment, they were asking, are you still going to charge me? And I said, yeah, I would like to if we could. And they said, okay, keep doing it. And then we had an outpouring of members say, whatever you do, we're going to pay whatever we can do. We want this gym to be open when we return. And we had one member who offered to pay his and his wife's semi-private membership in full for the next year. And that would easily keep us afloat for the next 3 months if we had nothing else coming in. So I'm not sure if I want to like hit the bee's nest with that one. But at the same time, I do feel like it's as awkward of a conversation as it is something that we do have to have. And I'm planning to send something out by the weekend. But just letting the community know that as a whole, we'll get through it. And it will be really hard to get through this as a partial community. And I think that it's the same sentiments as what everyone else is saying, is that, we want to keep the whole group together and we can get through this as a group. But we've had an overwhelming amount of support from members reaching out to us before we reached out to them saying, whatever you do, don't put me on hold. We're going to pay. We're going to see you through this. We're going to see ourselves through this. And for that reason, we haven't necessarily addressed that head on. And even having this conversation now, it makes me feel uncomfortable because I feel like there's something we're dropping the ball on. Honestly, that's it. I just haven't found the right words to put it together. But as people have said, no one's working at their job and they're not going out as much. So there's income that is still coming in. We've only lost 2 members. One went on hold and the other one left because he's a chef for events. And his revenue went from a lot to none instantly. And that's understandable. We're keeping those people on our page right now. We want them to have something to come back to when this turns around. So yeah, that's how we've gone about it so far.
Yeah, cool. I've saved $22 because I couldn't get a haircut. So
yeah, I'm having the same problem.
Alwyn, I want you to answer that question that we've been talking about, your members' response. And then also what Steve had mentioned, if you're seeing that, because you have a large membership as well, when you send out that email, are you losing a couple of people?
So the first thing is you have to reach out to your members right now, because if you've got any paperwork in place, you are the one that's violated the agreement, not through your fault, right? Because the government has closed you, but you cannot provide the services. It's the same as if they defaulted on payment, you've defaulted on services, right? So that's the first thing to communicate them. That said, again, I want to reiterate, I'm answering this after being closed for 14 days, right? My answers may change at the 6-week mark or the 8-week mark. We've had 0 people ask to pause. And our plan right now, our communication with our members is that if you continue to pay, and this is the time to be communicate with them. We are a small business and we rely on our members to support us. As we're closed, we'll be down in income anyway, right? Because there's no new members, there's no additional session sales or any other revenue coming in. So we'll be down in income anyway, just by being closed, even if 100% are on this. And we talked about this in our segment for the podcast this weekend, is that a lot of gyms are going to survive because of what they've done up to now, right? If you were dying and struggling and trickling to death up to now, this is going to be the jugular is going to be cut, right? Like you've got to be, if you've got a good culture in place, you're going to get through some of this, right? Churches are fine, right? We're going to be fine too with a good culture. So we've had people, our current plan is that when they renew their membership, because we're on annual agreements with 90% of our people, when they renew their membership, any time that we're closed will be credited onto that. Right now I can do that because it will be 2 weeks and not everybody will renew on the same month. So when they renew their membership, this will be staggered. For some of our coaching group, some of them are month to month. What they're doing is the first month back, people with last names A through H, that first month will be free. Then the next month for I through P. So you'll stagger over 3 or 4 months. And that's how to handle that. But again, we've had some members who've contacted us and says, you don't owe me anything because you're giving us so much stuff to support us during this time. But I understand Stephen's point is that perhaps members are being aware of it and they're cancelling because you're being aware of it. I'd still rather have that than hope that they don't notice that they're being billed. Right, I want them to know that I'm there for them and I'm aware of what's going on. So far we've been fortunate, but however, I should add that the way our business structure is set up is we bill in arrears. So people get the training we bill at the end of the month. So there was no income interruption from members when we closed, really, because they owed us money. If you were paid up front for services, it would be a little different conversation I'd be having.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Good. I'm glad you did that. Guys, let's talk about staff engagement. So just first, say how many staff you have and what are you doing to kind of keep your staff engaged and communicating with them? Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, for us, I've got 4 staff members, and I mean, there's a lot of things we're doing, just staying in communication through Zoom and meeting a little bit more regularly with my operations guy. But the main thing for us is like changing the vision. Like, hey, the vision that we talked about a month ago in our meetings is changed. And I think that's always been, it's always been easy to keep people motivated and keep people focused on the things that they're doing if they see the bigger picture. If you try to keep your bigger picture the same right now, I think that is probably a mistake. Like we adapted it. I created a 1-page thing of, hey, this is the goal right now. If you're on board, then that's great. If not, then let us know, because we're going through a lot right now to maintain what we're trying to do. So everybody so far has been really positive. We haven't had any issues with that. Just kind of mapping out what the future, whatever we can, whatever certainty that there is, try to be able to outline that for them as much as possible.
Elsbeth, an important thing to note is Elsbeth was traveling out of the country, so she actually had to self-quarantine. And so if she was a mean boss, she would have been in trouble on this one.
That's true. Yeah, I could have had people not showing up. Yeah, I was actually enjoying a ski trip in France shortly before this, so I timed that nicely. I did have to do a self-quarantine, but over that. So yeah, we're staying in touch via Zoom and through Slack. So with that Slack workspace that we put together for our clients, our trainers are also on there, and we have we both direct message with each other on there, and then we also have private channels that are just for the trainers. So it's turning out to be a really nice place to have everything in one location. So, and we're encouraging people to, both trainers and clients, that instead of getting in touch with us via email, to actually do it via direct message or in the channels on Slack. So I can just go right there, and everything I need to do to talk to anyone is right there. We have right now just weekly Slack meetings, Zoom meetings within Slack with the team, but then we're also doing individual ones. And the other thing I've done is, up until now, I've done most of the programming for our clients, but to jump in and do 60 some individual programs in less than in a week or so, there's just no way I could have done that. So I'm also training my team to do the program updates, which has been, so I've actually worked more hours personally in the last 3 weeks than I think I have in the previous 3 months. Just because I wanted to make sure I want this to work. And I also, motivated both to keep the business going. And I was really keen to keep my staff going. I don't want them to have to go on employment insurance. So we've been able to get that. But yeah, it's good because now I'm reaping the benefits of that my trainers are doing a lot of the work now. And we're doing a little less communication now. We're still talking on Slack, but fewer meetings because now they're up and running. So it's kind of cool.
Very cool. Steve, I know you guys, MBSC, had their first staff meeting yesterday. I talked to Mike, and he really loved kind of connecting with all you guys. But remind us how many staff members you have, and you have a boatload of interns normally right now as well. So how many is that?
So we have somewhere in the 25 to 30 range, and then a little more depending on the season. And then interns throughout from January to June, it's an overlapping mixture of somewhere between 8 and 10. There'll be 4 or so that start in January and end in March, and then say 4 or 6 more overlapping through March to the end of June or whenever their school semester gets out. And yeah, so we had our first Zoom meeting on Tuesday. That was good. It was cool. It was pretty social in nature. There wasn't an itinerary of things to do, but we were talking about how, so the majority of our staff is young, early 20s. So we were trying to just figure out ways that people don't get lazy during this time, or how can you use the time when we're sitting at home to better yourself, whether that's continuing ed, but also not going crazy by only doing continuing education for 10 hours a day, keeping in touch with your clients, even if that's just a text every day saying, hey, how's it going? Stuff like that. But it was good. It was good to see everyone. Obviously, it's a very social atmosphere at any gym, and with us, because there are so many of us at the gym on a daily basis, it was good to get to see everyone.
Very cool. John, you don't have anybody with you, right?
Yeah, I'm easy. It's just me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Evan.
We've actually been meeting more because of Zoom. It's just turned out to be a great platform. So just like Elsbeth said, we just did our programming for what's coming up with our groups and how to make that work on what we had planned already, that was going to happen in the gym. How can we continue to do that outside of the gym? And they allowed them and allowed us to all have an opportunity to see how we program. So it's been great to meet more. We're all on the same page more, and it's just giving us opportunities to learn how to communicate better, I think, when we are all together in the same facility.
Good stuff. Alan, you have obviously an interesting situation.
Yeah, we're doing a daily Zoom meeting. Unfortunately, we had to furlough our front desk team, but we've got 7 coaches and a manager who's on salary. So we are doing, the class finishes around 10 every morning, and at 10 a.m. we jump on Zoom as a group. And it's really just high point. Everybody's got to share a good story, and then any challenges you're having with programming or clients that we can all chip in on. So we're meeting daily. We've got the Slack group too, but it's what we're doing is the online workout is we do twice a week from the gym, and then we've got 2 of our coaches they have the setup. They're able to do it from their own home, and they still have to wear a staff shirt. It has to be as professional as we can. It would not be good enough for online training right now, the way it's set up. We're pivoting fast and we're moving quickly to do this remote coaching. If you're going to charge for online training, it would have to be more high end than we're able to do right now. But we've got a couple of our staff, they're not allowed to come to the gym, right? So they're able to do it from their apartment. So we do that. But we've got 7 coaches, so we're talking daily, 6 days a week. We have our Zoom meeting, and then anything we're going through. I'm doing my best to keep my team are everything to us, right? That's the key. That's which got us to this. I'm doing my best to support them.
Yeah, you have a good culture there with the we got your back team.
Yeah, that's
Alan,
what we call our front desk for anybody listening. We call them the We Got Your Back team.
Alan, Frank and I were talking about this yesterday because Mike brought this up, that maybe Mike had laid off some of the employees just for their own good, so they can basically get unemployment. But he said he doesn't know if that was a mistake yet because of the stimulus package. Would you know anything about that? Because if you're not paying your employees, you might not be able to get that money from the stimulus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I'm not going to give any like stimulus package banking advice right now, but it seems to be that if you can maintain a certain level of payroll, and we're looking at that actually with our We Got Your Back team. If you can maintain a certain level, you will be eligible for some of that. I'm just doing my best to keep my guys as much as they can. We've instead of paying them for classes and training sessions right now, I'm just paying them per client. And if the client maintains their membership, my staff will maintain their pay. I'm just doing our best. But yeah, I think I don't think anybody has the right answers with this right now. Right, none of us prepared for this. And surely the government doesn't really know what the stimulus package is going to look like. But it's the argument: do I let them go now and the gym survives, and I hope they survive when we reopen, or do I try to support them through the hard times and then they'll be with me going forward? So. I don't have an answer. I do think that right now, if you can afford to pay your staff, then keep doing that. And then hopefully the stimulus package will be helpful, that Payroll Protection Act.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, let's finish up 30 seconds each. Just a silver lining, something like for me, for example, I've kind of I've been able to do some things for Strength Coach to connect with people, to help people through, extending the trial, giving some gyms and their staff some 90-day memberships so they can help get through this. I have a golf program that I finally put up on Train Heroic. So it's just some good silver linings. So let's do that 30 seconds each while we finish up. Frank, go ahead.
I think for me, I mean, this is going to be by far the most challenging thing when I think about for the business that we're going to deal with probably in our lifetime. So if we can get through this, I think that would be, any of the other challenges that come up. I also, think about my marriage being able to survive this as well, being in the house. I mean, if we can make it through this, I'll be a lot less worried about anything going forward in the future.
There you go. Elsbeth.
I think for me, there's two silver linings. One is that I've been actually looking for opportunities to turn a couple of my half-time people into full-time and expanding their responsibilities. So now I don't really have any choice but to do that or to work too hard myself. So I'm doing that, which is great. And the other one is I've actually ventured into online training 4 times in the past. And each time I found it just didn't quite work. I either couldn't figure out a way to make enough money per hour for it to be worthwhile, or I didn't feel like the quality I was offering was acceptable for what I wanted to provide. And I feel like we're actually figuring that out now. So once we open our doors again, I suspect we'll actually legitimately offer online training for the foreseeable future.
Very cool. Steve?
Yeah, same thing. First one is we were actually in the process of changing our online platform anyway, so it's kind of given us a little more time, those of us who work on it, a little more time to actually delve in and learn the Train Heroic system a little more in depth and be able to put some programs up a little faster than we would be normally if we were training people in the gym day in, day out. And then from the second thing as well as with the Zoom stuff, we could start to think, hey, how can we integrate this into certified functional strength coach? Could we test people over Zoom, or could we use this could we do Zoom classes weekly from the gym as another way for people who maybe can't make it that week to get in? So it's been cool to kind of see how even just doing some experiments, like Alan said, is moving with speed, but how being fast has also given you new ideas on how you can grow the business more.
Very cool. John?
I think it's a really good opportunity, and I've gotten good feedback so far to really focus on some of my clients. Maybe I missed some things when they're in the gym, and I've had several of them be really appreciative of what I'm doing, of all the running around I'm doing. And again, I don't recommend that anybody do it. I don't think it's safe, but I do think they really do appreciate all the individual attention, and I think it's building a lot of goodwill.
Very cool. Evan?
As we talked about, just have a fire lit under to put out an ebook was great for us. One thing that we noticed is our coaching cues. When you don't have someone in front of you and you have to talk and cue them through online, and you realize your cues are effective and simple, and you get someone to say, someone's like, my back's bothering me. And then you look at them closer and you can correct them through Zoom. And they're like, oh, that feels so much better. Then we realize, like, okay, now we've really got some cues that we can write down and be really succinct with when we open back up into the space. I convinced our landlord to do a late renovation project, and that started today. And We have 3 big projects going on right now while the gym's closed that we wouldn't have been able to do other than me going there late at night or on the weekends to take care of myself. So it's kind of been like a blessing in that case. And also one of our staff is turning into a coach, and she's been shadowing on Zoom, and we had a family emergency Monday, and she took over the 5 p.m. and our member board blew up because everyone said how great her energy was and how great of a job she did. So, you know, if you don't think you can have someone shadow with you in person, the opportunity to have them shadow with you on Zoom to see members and to see how it works and then to apply their personality through that gets them already in the door to be able to coach in person. So there's been a lot of positives for us. And the one negative is that we actually have had some people saying, I just rolled out of bed. I don't know if I want to drive to the gym anymore. So, but now I think there's a couple of people we'll have to motivate to get into their car to come back to the gym when this is all said and done.
There you go. Alwyn.
I think part of the speed thing has been key for us is that we've been rolling out this app and trying to figure it out for a long time. And when we actually just knuckled down and said, it needs to be done tonight. Good enough is good enough. And we'll upgrade in the future. That's been great for us. I don't like the term online coaching. It's just a personal thing. I like remote coaching, which is, and we're already doing it, like with my obstacle course racing team. I don't supervise their 2-mile repeats. I don't stand at the track timing them. They just support their times and their heart rates to me. So I was already doing some of this. This is just going to, I think the future of this will go up. I've got my guy, Craig. Those of you have met Craig. Craig is a geek, and he has fallen in love with the app, and he keeps showing me things that it does. And so I've now got a guy who can run this program for me, right, going forward. The other part, and trust me, this does not make me happy overall. I don't like to see any gyms go under. It doesn't help us as a profession. However, the weak gyms, the bottom of the barrel is going to fall. Right? They're not going to be able to survive this. If your culture wasn't strong and your infrastructure wasn't strong, this will clear it out. That means that there will be more people looking for good gyms that have survived. But it also means that the good gyms are left and the standards are going to be higher, right? So this is going to change the game forever. Right, I'm just excited that I know only the strong will survive, and everybody who's on this call and listening to it are the strong, and we'll be good.
Absolutely. And also, Alwyn, you've had more time to read some of the books behind you, like Be Like the Best. So there you go.
Yeah, if you haven't read Be Like the Best, if you go to belikethebest.com and pick up your thing. And listen, guys, like for everybody who's listening, I've been through like a stem cell transplant where I was the only guy in isolation. And that sucked when everybody else is out there having fun and doing good things. This is just, you'll get through it. Trust me, it's no matter how dark it gets in the winter, there's never been back-to-back winters. Spring always comes, and we will get through this.
All right, guys, thank you so much for doing this, for sharing what you guys are all going through. You're really helping out a lot of people. We're going to make this available not only to the strengthcoach.com members, but to the public as well. So, guys, thanks again for doing this.
Thank you.
Here's that.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Sam.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you. See you guys.